Hello everyone, I'm Gaddix Games. We're here with another Mobile Legends video. This time, like every week, we have a new patch on the advanced server, and therefore, new hero balance changes as well. So before we start, let me just recommend the sponsor of this video to you. And we start with Eudora. We've adjusted her first skill to make it easier to trigger the lightning chains in her passive. The duration of Superconductor went from 3 seconds to 5 seconds then, in her first skill. The cooldown reduction from delayed damage went from 1.5 seconds to half of the skill's cooldown. Buff. So, was it necessary for Eudora or not? I think it was. For me, Eudora wasn't doing that well, right now on the official server. So tell me, what do you think about this buff? Now, let's move on to Hirara, and at first we have an update. They've already added the heroine's entrance animation, and they've also polished details in her main appearance. This time, we also have a buff for her. In her passive, the damage to minions went from 30 plus 3 per hero level in percentage to 30 plus 4 per hero level in percentage. Then, in her first skill, the cooldown changed from 8.5 to 5 seconds to 7.8 to 5 seconds. And in her second skill, the damage of Crimson Maple went from 160 to 265 plus 53 to 88% of additional physical attack to 165 to 270 plus 55 to 85, 90% of additional physical attack. Now we have Balmond. In his second skill, the total physical attack bonus for damage went from 20 to 25. So a new buff for Balmond? Now we have Argus. Our goal is to provide advantages to experienced Argus players in a more practical way. His ultimate skill would be the ulti. Effect removed. Casting the ultimate skill reduces its cooldown by 30%. The cooldown went from 60 to 50 seconds down to 42 to 35 seconds, and the automatic activation duration of Eternal Evil went from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. Well, a new buff for Argus then? Let's continue now with Odette. We have adjusted Odette's ultimate skill to prevent it from being interrupted or accidentally deactivated when she is immobilized. In her first skill, the movement speed reduction went from 30 to 40, and in her ultimate skill, the effect was removed. She jumps to the target location when casting it, and the movement slow went from 90 to 20. Well, this is listed as an adjustment. And the description? At first, Moonton sells it to you as something good, but I see it as a nerf. Is this really a big nerf to Odette? Because one of the good things she had was that with her ultimate, she could jump to the designated direction. And now she can't. So I see it as a nerf, and I don't understand what they're doing. Moonton had buffed her in previous patches. Honestly, she was pretty OP. They went back and now they bring this, which I think, again, nobody's gonna like. Now let's go with Masha. We have experimental adjustments. We want to make it easier for Masha to enter Wild State without losing the excitement of her gameplay. So, in her passive adjustments in Wild State, the wound is now bigger. Breaking a wound activates Wild State for 3 seconds and transforms the next 3 basic attacks. In Wide Area Claws, the number of claws can stack up to 6 times. And in his second skill, we have a new effect. The second skill resets every time an HP bar is depleted, and the damage went from 120 up to 240 plus 120 of total physical attack to 240 up to 440 plus 60 of total physical attack. Well, this is an experimental change, but in the Masha revamp, because let me remind you that here on the advanced server, the Masha revamp is already available. So if you haven't seen it, go check out my previous videos for the full video about the Masha revamp. So the adjustments to this Masha continue, who has always been a hero that gave Montoon a hard time balancing her. Because the changes they make end up making her too OP. Then they nerf some things again, and she ends up being completely useless. She's a hero that's really hard to balance. Now we continue with Sushin. We've noticed that Sushin is incredibly powerful, both in high-level ranked matches and in professional games. We will increase the cost of her second ability to balance her overall performance. In her passive, the mana regeneration for each Crimson Butterfly went from 3 to 4 per 4, and in her second ability, the mana cost went from 45 to 75. Well, I think this is an expected change because Right now, in ranked games, Sushin is really dominating at the top, obviously, and also, as it says there, in the professional ranks. Now let's move on to Ruby. Part of her spell vamp damage in her passive was reverted. The base spell vamp ratio went from 60 to 75. Then, on her first skill, the scythe damage went from 280 up to 480 plus 120% of total physical attack to 280 up to 480 plus 100% of total physical attack. Also, the shockwave damage went from 140 up to 240 plus 60% of total physical attack to 140 up to 240 plus 50% of total physical attack. And finally, in this hero balance update, we have Edith. The heroine's mobility was slightly increased in the mid and late stages of the match. In her second skill, the cooldown went from 10 seconds at all levels to 10 down to 8 seconds buff. Or just a small buff for Edith then? Well, folks, that's it for this video, the latest hero balance update from the advanced server. When these changes come to the official server, people always ask me, but they never make it to the end where I clarify this. There is no confirmed date. Usually these adjustments come once a month, but every week they add a new patch here to the advanced server. And some changes that I've seen here can be reversed the following week. And then there's a week when a patch comes out with a whole month's worth of adjustments, for example, and they release it to the official server. So, well, I'll read your opinion in the comments, and if you like the video, subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.